This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Well, hi there. You're back, and so are we. Back to bring you all the latest agribusiness news and features from around the great state of Georgia. This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. If you're new to the show, here's how it works. Coming up, we head to North Georgia and Ellijay to see the cool springtime temperatures, if they had any effect on this year's apple crop. Also on the program, the amazing discovery by 2 Michigan farmers that dates between 10 and 15,000 years old.
Plus, after 12 years, see and hear the impact the Cubahatcha Outdoor Education Center continues to have on the students of Henry County. All this and more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Well, fall brings cool weather and colorful leaves, along with thousands of tourists who flock to North Georgia to see the sights and to taste some of the sweetest apples around. We visited one of Georgia Farm Bureau's certified farm markets that has a long history with the apple orchards in Gilmer County. When you see this sign, you know there are farm fresh quality products associated with it. Well, the same is true at R&A Apples on Georgia Highway 52 just outside of Ellijay. I had a chance to catch up with Andy Futch. He said this fall season is looking to be one of the best with the apples they're getting from the 146 acres of orchards.
We've had plenty of rainfall. The crop is coming in a little bit early, about a week early, but everything seems to be moving right along. The fruit has plenty of juice and good and sweet and crisp, and everything's going good.
Although the apples are plentiful this fall, Futch said there had been a few weather-related challenges earlier in the year.
Of course, when you get a little bit of extra rainfall, you have a little more challenges keeping your apples clean and fungus-free. And we had this year we were very fortunate. Like last year, we had a little late freeze there in March that done a little damage to our apples, but it was not catastrophic. So we've got a little bit of cold sign on some of the apples that we may have to grade out and not have as many quality fruit as we normally do, but we still got plenty of apples. When we get into October, I really like the Stamen Wine Sap. They're just a wonderful eating apple. You get a little bit of the tart with the sweet, crisp apple. And then, of course, when you get to November, Pink Lady is probably my favorite, but it'd be seasonal. I can't pick just one out.
And in case you're wondering how R&A Apples remains open year-round,
we've got into the Pink Lady and the Gold Rush apples that I spoke about that we pick in November, and we're able to hold those apples in cold storage and sell on those in January, February, and March. And then in April, we move into strawberries. So we have strawberries in April and May. And then by the 1st of June, we start picking peaches, and then we have peaches June, July, and August. Then August is our apple month where we have apples and peaches, and then apples August through March again, and we just keep things rolling like that. And we have the bakery in the market, and we do the deli, and so we've generated a few things to help us through the winter months to keep the market going.
And he said he learned a thing or two from his grandfather who planted the original trees on the property.
Plant trees every year to keep the orchard going. We're always looking for new varieties or that we'll plant and try. And as my grandfather always used to say, a man that's in the fruit business that is not planting trees every year is on his way out of the fruit business.
All right, Kenny, nice job. Now to other ag news. A Michigan farmer hit the find of a lifetime recently. Something very unusual and very old.
What we found here is a partial skeleton of a woolly mammoth. Probably lived between 10,000 and 15,000 years ago.
The farmer who found the remains was working with a friend to install a new gas line when they made the discovery. Daniel Fisher, a paleontologist from the University of Michigan, was called in to excavate the site. Now, according to Fisher, there's quite possibly a very good explanation as to why the mammoth ended up in this location.
The pieces having been brought to this place by ancient humans for storage of carcass parts in a pond It was their intent to come back later and retrieve this when they needed fresh meat.
Now, if the bones are confirmed to be 15,000 years old, it could mean humans inhabited the area much earlier than originally thought.
Well, if you think driving through Atlanta traffic is bad, how would you like to be the folks in Estes Park, Colorado? Autumn Phillips, a local resident, captured this scene during her morning commute recently. A number of large elk crowded in the intersection, causing all kinds of delays. One of the elks even decided to give the horn honkers a piece of his mind. Take a listen. Yeah, you tell him there, Mr. Elk.
What is that, elk rage? A quick programming note for you. Effective immediately, RFD Network's airing of the Monitor can now be seen 2.5 hours earlier on Thursday night. No change on Sundays. We'll still be coming to you at 11 p.m. Eastern, but now on Thursday, the show airs at 6 p.m. Eastern. This way, you can watch the Monitor and all your favorite primetime shows the same night. No need to DVR anything. Well, recently in Walton County, a field day was held to educate the public on how to establish and enhance bee habitats.
A number of groups came together to put on the event, and it was all an effort to help bee populations stay healthy and plentiful. The Monitor's Mark Wildman has that story.
In Walton County, farmers, beekeepers, and concerned citizens gathered to learn how they can help create and maintain healthy bee habitats. The event, which was sponsored by the Walton County Soil and Water Conservation District, UGA Extension, USDA, Walton EMC, Athens Land Trust, and Walton County Farm Bureau, was full of valuable information that not only protects bees but can help family gardens and other agriculture as well.
You can't produce crops without pollination. That's the long and short of it. And especially when we're talking about a concentrated vegetable operation like this, you've got to have bees. All right. And the other part of it is we're so close to the University of Georgia. What a good place to be in a partnership with them.
The field day was held at Foster Brady Farm, which has been a family farm since 1860. Clay Brady and family work hard raising a variety of vegetables for consumers.
Most of the things that we grow require a pollinator of some sort. And so the health that we can offer the bees to stay around, to pollinate our fruits and vegetables, the more benefit we get. The bees are also, they also give us honey, so we can offer that at our market stands and through our CSA programs as incentives to join and incentives to stop at our table. We have a lot of fun at these events. These are educational for the people that come out and listen to the experts, and also educational for us, getting more minds and more people out talking about what works, what doesn't work. So we have a good time enjoying talking to everybody, networking, listening to some of the local experts from the university and the Department of Natural Resources.
Over the years, this area has seen a lot of change, and farmers have had to adjust as well to make sure their family farms can stay in business for the next generation.
In Walton County and many counties, we're not talking about much row cropping anymore like we used to be. But we're seeing a lot of things like these small farms that have been in things like livestock production and so on, that are now doing vegetables and that kind of thing. And so that's something where we can provide some training with our partnerships with all of these other organizations, DNR, NRCS, University of Georgia. We can provide some training in helping them do a better job with their production.
Walton County Farm Bureau was on hand at the event, along with its county president, Nathan Malcolm.
I'm very pleased with Farm Bureau being involved in everything we do, because it's real important for the state. Farm Bureau is the #1 organization for farmers in the state.
If you are interested in enhancing bee pollination in your area, a good place to start is with your local extension agent to get connected with experts in the field. So whether you are raising a small garden or raising a large commercial vegetable farm, bees are the key to having success, and we can all do our part in helping their habitat stay healthy. I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Mark, great job. When we come back, the meaning behind the Cubahatcha Education Center and how it's become a favorite destination for Henry County third graders. Stay with us. You are watching the Georgia Farm Monitor.
The pink bollworm is a major pest of the billion-dollar U.S. cotton industry and has practically been eliminated from this country. However, there can be infestation flare-ups.
We are investigating using remotely piloted aircraft capable of eliminating small-scale outbreaks as soon as they are detected.
The remotely piloted aircraft release sterile moths into new infestation areas.
The sterile moths mate with the wild pink bollworm population and reduce the infestation by preventing offspring.
Pink bollworms infest and feed on the cotton boll, damaging the cotton lint and reducing yield. USDA and the Department of Defense are recruiting transitioning military service members into farming. Agriculture Deputy Secretary Krista Harden went to the Pentagon to announce agriculture career training and counseling programs for service members as they transition out of the military.
One thing is we need you. The average age of the American farmer is 58, which the closer I get to that, doesn't seem that old. But it is, and there's not a generation necessarily coming back to the land to farm and ranch.
Harden said farming is hard work, sacrifice, and long hours, conditions common in the military.
But it's also the rewards of knowing what you're doing makes such a difference.
The USDA-DoD partnership will inform service members about USDA programs and how USDA can support veterans and their families. For the U.S. Department of Agriculture, I'm Bob Ellison.
For the past 12 years, the Henry County Water and Sewage Authority has partnered with the Henry County School System to bring lessons on the outdoors to area third graders. Held each fall at the Cubahatcha Outdoor Education Center in Locust Grove, this location is ideal in that it protects and safeguards current wildlife while at the same time providing the students to learn in an engaging manner. Cubahatcha, an Indian word meaning land between the lakes. And as you can see by this satellite image, there are a number of lakes surrounding the Cubahatcha Educational Center. Some say it's the best kept secret in Georgia.
I'd agree with them. I think it is the best kept secret. We offer a lot of things to the residents of Henry County that a lot of them don't know, but especially their kids know, because they come down here and participate in the events that are put on here, like the third grade event that you're at today. Their kids get to experience nature, and they get to experience all the other things that are going on here, whether it's a forestry program, whether it's honeybees, whether it's a 4-H program doing Water Olympics or whatever. They get to experience all that at no cost at a place that's right here locally in Henry County. So it's a pretty good deal for them and the citizens of Henry County.
In addition to those mentioned by Presley, water conservation, fire prevention, health and nutrition, and stormwater runoff and pollution also serve as learning opportunities for the students who visit the center every year. Compact trails throughout the 1,000-acre development take students and teachers from one lesson to the next, past reservoirs and through scenic woodland walkways. Each class spending at least 20 minutes at each of the 4 different learning stations.
What's the name of this place? Because Henry County is an urban county and we don't have a lot of farms up here, this is the first exposure some of these kids have ever been to anything growing, a real tractor. We get to get on a real tractor? You're kidding. This is great. This is one of the reservoirs. We've got a lot of them in Henry County. This is one of the bigger ones. We're between 2 lakes, and they, along with the Henry County school system, make sure every third grader in the whole county, and remember, we got almost 60 schools in this county, so we're talking an awful lot of people. We'll have 3,000 kids out here over this 2-week span.
I mean, it's pretty neat now to go back and look at kids that graduated from high schools that, came down here when we first started, and they remember the experience. So, we've been doing it for that long, and it's gotten better and better over the years. And it's kind of just a well-oiled machine now. It just kind of goes through the process, and we've got a lot of different partners. We've got EMC, we've got Board of Education, which is huge. Henry County's 4-H, the Extension Office, they're big partners. And we're getting more and more partners. Farm Bureau's new this year, or last year I think was their first year. So we're getting a lot of new partners that are putting not only just there's quality programs that the kids of Henry County that are getting to see. So it's a big benefit to them.
All right, nice job, Ray. Now, meantime, the quarterly market basket survey by the American Farm Bureau Federation shows lower retail food prices overall. Michael Clements follows that story.
The American Farm Bureau Fall Harvest Market Basket Survey showed a slight decrease thanks to lower retail food prices for items including whole milk, cheddar cheese, bacon, and apples. The informal survey showed the total cost of 16 food items that can be used to prepare one or more meals was $54.14, down 12 cents or less than 1% compared to a survey conducted a year ago. Farm Bureau economist John Anderson says the survey shows price stability.
Pretty stable with where we were the first quarter, up just a touch, 27 cents or about 0.5% from the first quarter. So basically price stability is what we see for the market basket as a whole.
The biggest price change in the survey belongs to eggs. The average price for a dozen eggs in the recent survey was $3.04 per dozen. A year ago, the survey found the price of eggs just under $2 per dozen. However, Anderson says the price increase should come as no surprise.
I don't think there's really any mystery around that this year with the high-path avian influenza outbreak in the Midwest, particularly in Iowa, because Iowa is a major egg producer. And so with that supply disruption, we've had some real turmoil in the egg industry, and that's showing up in these retail prices.
The next market basket survey will be later this fall. The Thanksgiving survey will include different food items, but Anderson says the discussion will be the same.
We'll probably be talking about high-path avian influenza again when we get to our Thanksgiving survey, because the other major industry that was affected by that outbreak was the turkey industry, and we'll see if there's any effect from that. Certainly the AI event was not as big a deal for turkeys, I don't think, nationally as it was for eggs, but we'll be keeping a close eye on that.
Anderson says he expects the retail food prices to remain stable heading into 2016. The quarterly market basket survey will be held in the first quarter of next year. Michael Clements, Washington.
Up next on the Monitor, it is said that extension offices are set up to help farmers, not scare them away. However, if you believe in ghosts, this is one extension you may want to stay clear of. We'll explain when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues. Welcome back. In Athens recently, the University of Georgia hosted a women's-only ag training class. Those who attended the event received hands-on instruction on a variety of different topics around the farm. Damon Jones was at the event and has the story.
In the fields or just around the household, women play a vital role in farming operations all across the country. That's why it's so important for those not involved on a day-to-day basis to learn some of the basic skills. It's the reason this women's-only training session hosted by UGA Extension is so significant, as it gives them hands-on experience.
We're trying to keep the groups very small. We have a limited number of participants, specifically so that every participant has the chance to drive a tractor, to hook and pull a trailer, to put up fencing, calibrate sprayers, things that are normal everyday experiences on the farm.
And as you can see, it's truly a women's-only event, including the instructors, who all have years of experience in the field, but can still relate to those in attendance.
Our teachers are all extension agents, ag agents within their county. We all come from a farm background. We all understand the challenges that women face today on the farm. So we wanted to bring them out and give them a chance to experience possibly some new things in a stress-free environment.
And that type of setting helps put the participants more at ease, which means they are likely to ask more questions.
I think a women's only event is great. Some of the comments that we have gotten back is that they feel much more comfortable talking with women. They don't feel nearly as intimidated as they might be from men who have been in the industry for years and years, and they aren't afraid to ask another woman a question that they might feel intimidated about asking a man who has been working in the industry for a long time.
While some of these women don't work in the field all the time, it's still very important that they know how to do some of the daily tasks.
Even if you don't work on the farm every day, you may be the only one home and your cows get out and you have to put them back in and fix the fence. You may have to crank the tractor to put in a bale of hay, and that's not something you're extremely familiar with. So this is just helping them get familiar with different types of tractors, possibilities for fixing fence, hooking up to trailers, even calibrating sprayers.
And with that understanding, it's easier to share experiences and spread the story of agriculture to those in the community.
It's important for women to know what's going on a daily basis on the farm, whether they work on the farm as a career or not, whether they work off the farm. They're able to communicate with others about it, and today it's more important than ever to be able to communicate what we do on farms to the general public.
And if these instructors could pick one thing they want these women to take away from this event,
confidence in their ability to attempt new things when they go home on the farm. If they need to pitch in and help, then they say, yes, I can do this.
Ideally, I hope that they can go home saying that they've learned something, that they maybe feel a little more confident. I really don't think there is any substitute at all for actually doing something rather than watching it done or seeing a presentation about it being done. I really hope that somebody can go home and say, I learned this because I was able to do this.
reporting from Athens, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Well, finally today, from our friends in Tennessee, comes this story just in time for Halloween.
Yeah, did you know there are 95 extension offices across Tennessee, one in every county, each one staffed by friendly and helpful humans. However, this Halloween season, there could be something more ghostly occupying one department. Chuck Denny has the haunting tale.
The good folks at the Overton County UT Extension Office are always helpful. Need information about livestock, 4-H, or consumer issues? They'll gladly provide it. However, there are times around here when things get, well, a little weird. Several downtown Livingston buildings, including the one that houses the Extension Office, are rumored to be haunted. Note the white orbs in this photo. Larry Gunnels took that shot and is a local archivist. He tells the story of the day he was stacking wooden boards in this room and the piles kept falling over with no one around.
After it had fell about the 5th or 6th time, I'm going, now look guys, go upstairs and aggravate somebody else. I'm trying to get something done. It quit. It stopped.
The building that houses the modern-day Extension Office was built in the 1940s and used to be a hospital. People often go to a hospital to get better, but sometimes they don't get better.
We've been in the basement here all this time. This used to be the emergency room, and we have the emergency operating room down just the hall. It's one of the offices now.
UT Extension people literally had to scrub blood off the walls before moving in years ago. But it's not just expired patients who might still be hanging out here. Ruth Woolbright's grandchildren were in the office one day and say they saw a man.
There was no one in the hallway there either. And she says, there's the doctor. This is the 3rd time. And I look at Lane and I said, Lane, do you see the doctor? And he said, yes, there's the doctor. And he pointed and there was no one there.
Then there's this creepy and creaky elevator straight out of that Shining hotel. It's not working now, but sometimes it works on its own with no one around to push any buttons.
The elevator would come down, and it's a very noisy elevator, and it would come down and the doors would open, and of course I would want to see who was on the elevator, and I would go out there and it would be empty.
UT Extension Overton County will soon move to a new office, but it's just a floor up, still in the same spooky building. So it stands to reason the old clientele will follow them to their new home. After all, everyone, living or otherwise, needs their helpful information. This is Chuck Denny reporting.
I think I'd be working from home a lot.
Yes, stay away.
That is going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Now here's a reminder for all the latest ag information regarding food, recipes, and what's happening down on the farm. Check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor Show.
We leave you today with another look at that amazing discovery on a Michigan farm field.
As always, have a fantastic week.